English main script. Title: Why Japan's failures still beat America's successes. Hook line: even when Japan loses, it secretly wins. Why? 0. Cold open. Even when Japan loses, it somehow still wins. On paper, Japan looks like a slow, aging country that missed the tech boom. Low growth, low wages, shrinking population. Meanwhile, America has Apple, Tesla, Google, SpaceX, Wall Street, Silicon Valley. The global scoreboard screams, America wins, Japan lost. And yet, when you look behind that scoreboard, into the machines, the planes, the trains, the power plants that actually keep the world running, you find a quiet truth. A lot of those American successes are standing on top of Japanese-style thinking, the kind of thinking that grew out of what looks like failure from the outside. Today, I want to walk you through that paradox. Not to say Japan is better, but to show a different way to define winning and losing. And maybe by the end, you'll start judging your own life a little differently too. 1. What do we even mean by Japan failed? Let's start with the obvious. If you only look at numbers, Japan really does look like a loser. For more than 30 years, people have called it the lost decades. Economic growth low, average wages barely moving, population shrinking and aging. If you compare that to the U.S., big tech companies dominating the world, housing prices shooting up, stock market hitting record highs, then yeah, the natural conclusion is America is winning the game. Japan is stuck in the past. And if growth and speed are the only rules of the game, that's a fair judgment. But here's the mistake. We assume there is only one game. What if Japan has been playing a different game this whole time? 2. The visible game versus the invisible game. Think about how we usually talk about success. We talk about biggest company, fastest growth, richest person, most powerful military. That's the visible game. It's like the highlight reel on social media. America is fantastic at winning the visible game. Big stories, big numbers, big personalities. But there's another game almost nobody talks about. Which country makes sure things don't break? Which country quietly designs systems so planes don't crash, trains don't derail, factories don't explode, and devices keep working for 10, 20, 30 years? That's the invisible game. The game of stability, reliability, and safety. Japan is not the star of the movie. Japan is the plumbing of the world, and you don't notice plumbing until it fails. 3. A simple example. Trains and overreaction. Let's take an everyday example. In some countries, a train accident happens and people say, tragic, but these things happen. In Japan, if a train is just 1 minute late, the company sometimes prints an official apology letter so passengers can show it to their boss. From the outside, this looks crazy. Why are they so extreme about something so small? Because behind that 1 minute delay, there is a way of thinking. If we let 1 minute slide, we might let safety standards slide. If we become okay with a little bit of chaos, that chaos grows. So Japan overreacts to small problems to prevent huge disasters. The result? You don't get dramatic headlines like, train miracle in Japan, because miracles are not needed. Japan's trains are not exciting. They are boringly reliable. And that is the invisible game. 4. From gadgets to the deep inside parts and materials. Now let's move from trains to tech. Most people can name American tech brands: iPhone, Tesla, Boeing, Microsoft, Google. Very few people can name the company that makes the tiny ceramic parts inside your phone, the company that makes the special steel that doesn't crack, the company that makes the sensor that helps your medical device read your heartbeat. A lot of those nameless, invisible pieces are made in Japan, not because Japan is more clever, but because Japanese industry spent decades doing something that looks completely boring in the short term, improving the same part 1% every year, listening to every complaint from the factory floor, redesigning for easier repair, refusing to cut certain safety corners even if it hurts profit. In a world obsessed with the next big thing, Japan is weirdly obsessed with making the same thing slightly less likely to fail. So while America is launching the next version, Japan is quietly making sure that the previous version doesn't break. Again, visible game versus invisible game. 5. People are not parts, a different design philosophy. Here's another key difference that often gets missed. If you see humans as replaceable parts in a machine, you design systems for maximum efficiency, longer working hours, faster turnover, more pressure. If you can't keep up, we'll find someone who can. This model can create fast innovation, big competition, massive success stories. But it also creates burnout, inequality, people who are left behind. Japan is far from perfect, and Japanese work culture has its own serious problems. But deep down, there is a different instinct. People are not parts. People are the ones who fix the machine when the parts fail. That's why you see things like extra checks built into manufacturing, too much safety training, designs that feel slower but safer, overprotection for children and the elderly. Is it always efficient? No. Does it sometimes go too far? Absolutely. But that mindset creates products and systems that, while not flashy, are really hard to destroy. And in a world full of uncertainty, that has value, huge value. 6. So did Japan really fail? If your definition of success is highest GDP growth, highest average salary, biggest global brands, then yes, Japan has been failing for a long time. But if your definition includes fewer accidents, less extreme inequality, longer product lifespans, social stability, even under pressure, then suddenly the scoreboard gets weird. Japan looks like a student who gets average scores on public exams, but secretly wrote half the textbook. No one gives them a trophy. But if you remove their work, the entire class fails. That's what I mean when I say, even when Japan loses, it still wins. Because the game Japan is playing is not who shines the brightest this year, but who keeps things from collapsing over decades. 7. Where Japan really failed to be fair. To be clear, this isn't a romantic story. Japan genuinely failed in important areas. It didn't adapt quickly enough to digital business. It clung too long to old corporate structures. It worked people to exhaustion. It became too afraid of risk, too comfortable with the status quo. Those are real failures, and Japanese people live with the consequences every day. So this is not, Japan is secretly perfect and the West is wrong. It's more like, Japan optimized for safety and stability so hard that it lost speed and flexibility. America optimized for speed and innovation so hard that it lost some stability and safety. Two different choices, two different sets of problems, two different kinds of failure. 8. Why this matters now. So why are we talking about this in 2025? Because the future is getting unstable. Climate change, geopolitical tension, AI changing jobs, aging populations, infrastructure under stress. In that kind of world, we don't just need winners, we need systems that don't fall apart. That's where Japanese-style thinking becomes extremely valuable. Designing for repair, not just replacement. Accepting short-term losses to avoid long-term disasters. Treating safety as an investment, not a cost. Respecting the people on the ground who actually keep things running. In other words, the future might belong not to the countries that grow the fastest, but to the countries that break the slowest. And Japan has been training for that game for decades, sometimes by choice, sometimes by painful necessity. 9. What can you take from this? This channel is called Hope Reactor. So let's bring it back to you. Forget countries for a moment. Think about your own life. Most of us are taught to play the visible game. Earn more, show more, win faster, look successful online. But what if you asked a different set of questions? What do I do to make sure my life doesn't collapse? When something goes wrong, where am I quietly building foundations? Even if nobody praises me for it? What kind of invisible success am I willing to protect, even if it makes me look slower than others? Japan's story is not a perfect model, but it is a reminder that there are other ways to win. You can move a bit slower, say no to certain shortcuts, invest in skills and relationships that don't go viral, build systems in your own life that are boringly reliable. And years later, people will look at you and say, somehow, even when life hit them hard, they were still standing. That's not flashy, but it's real. 10. Closing and comment invitation. So let me leave you with this question. If you had to choose one, a life that looks successful on the outside, but breaks easily under pressure, or a life that looks average from the outside, but stays stable and meaningful for decades, which one would you actually pick? And second question, what is one invisible success in your country that most people outside don't notice? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to learn from your side of the world too. If you enjoyed this perspective, subscribe to Hope Reactor so we can keep exploring these hidden layers together. Because sometimes The things that look like failure on the surface are exactly what keep the world from falling apart.